Secret number 11. The time of your life. In the lives of busy people, no question is asked more often than, where has the time gone? Time, of course, hasn't gone anywhere, as the question suggests, but merely moves on at its normal rate while we become painfully aware that we are accomplishing much less than we would like to. Unlike the timekeeper at a sports event, in the game of life, we can't stop the clock for an instant replay. And when we protest, "I don't have the time," more often than not, whatever we are doing is not important enough to warrant our taking time for it. Let's admit it. No one has more time than another. We have the same amount of time in every day as everyone else. We have the same number of minutes in our hours and the same number of hours in our day. And, yet, we repeat the same old phrases. In striving for a fuller, more complete and satisfying life, we hear a lot about the stewardship of wealth and possessions. Less is said about the stewardship of talent, and little is said about the stewardship of time. Unquestionably, time passes quickly. Every moment that goes by is a time in our lives. Since our entire existence is composed of time, it is of the utmost importance that we consider the emotional significance in how we use it. I'm awfully busy. I'm in a hurry, and I just haven't the time, are three large nails in the coffin of happiness. Continually rushing through life precludes the development of a personality of strength and beauty, and robs life of its savor and flavor. Every morning beyond our bedroom windows there's fresh air, trees, mountains, fields or parks. But we rarely ever see them. We turn right over and go on sleeping, or simply jump out of bed and rush off to work. And when asked why this helter-skelter pace, we insist that we do not have enough time to do the thing we want to do. Time becomes our master. Yet we must learn to master time instead of being mastered by it. We must stop being time's fool. Neither waste it, nor get caught up in the no time syndrome. Instead, we must learn to control it and make time for the important things in life. When we snatch the whip of hurry from the hand of time, we regain self-mastery. Is time the problem, or are you? The relentless ticking of the clock holds the impression that there isn't enough time to do what we want to do. For instance, there are things you've been meaning to do for years: learn a language, visit some place, write a special letter, take a course, finish a book. If only you'd more time. You're so busy. But are you, really? People take courses in time management and still end up having no time to do the things that are necessary for success. The truth is, if we really want to get something done, we'll find the time to do it. We don't need a time management expert to tell us how. Let me give you some examples. Presume I'm going to hire you to sell a copy of this book for the retail price on the cover. However, for the next 48 hours, I'll give you $100 for each copy you sell. How much time are you going to spend on eating, talking on the phone, watching TV, engaging in idle conversation, or just sitting around? Would you talk with anyone who isn't a good prospect for a sale? Okay, you're in school. For every A you get, I will give you a check for $5,000. If you maintain a 4-point average, I will give you $100,000. Do you think you could find the time to study? If these offers were made to you, you wouldn't have to read a book or take a time management course to find the time to do a good sales job, or attain high grades, would you? The reason for this is simple. You would have identified an extremely desirable goal and have an almost uncontrollable obsession to achieve it. There you have it. The secret of finding time to do the things you want is to really want to do them, not wishing to do them. We all wish we could do more, but we actually don't want to, so we just keep on wasting time and wishing for more of it. When we do make a decision to master time, the first step is not tackling the nearest calendar and budgeting our time. This is the last step. The first step is to clarify why we want to do something rather than why we ought to do it. This is done by developing a real philosophical understanding of the importance, as well as unimportance, of time in our lives. Once we have the motivation to take command, the mechanics of achievement will follow. Gaining the upper hand of the clock and calendar in no way implies disregarding time. Only when we know how to deal with it can we be in a position to control it. By working with time, we can achieve remarkable results. But easy does it? The first attempt need not involve achieving a major goal. The secret of winning is beginning. Once we have time on our side, our simplest efforts will accumulate the strength and confidence needed for any greater effort. Every journey begins with the first step. Do you want more time, but don't know where to begin? Here's a suggestion: make an effort to rise earlier. This one step can add 1 or 2 hours to your productive day and years to your life. Take on something you have been meaning to do and do it in your spare time. Before breakfast. Would you like to be an expert on some subject? Every morning study for a half hour and you can become an authority on it. That's all it takes. It's so simple, it escapes the majority of people who keep chanting, "Someday I would like to, but I never seem to have the time." Just because you never started the work, play or study that really interests you is no reason why you can't start right now. Time doesn't count us out. We only imagine it does. It's never too late to begin. Time is impersonal. It is the same every moment. It imposes no limitations upon us. Our only limitations are self-imposed. The after theory: you can achieve success in anything if you are determined to make the time. For example, instead of doing something every week, why not do it every other week? Instead of going to the same place every Monday evening, why not go every other Monday evening? By saving an evening every other week, you will have made the time to do other, more important things. Most people live by the after theory. They have big plans. They are going to do great things after the kids grow up, after they change jobs, after they get a new car, after they finish school, after they get new drapes, etc., etc. This after period never comes, but they keep on promising themselves that someday they are going to get what they want. Now, while opportunity may knock more than once, it seldom sits on the doorstep awaiting our pleasure. Do the things you always wanted now, or make plans now, or program your subconscious now, not tomorrow. You will never have more time than you have today. How you spend the next 24 hours determines how you will spend the next 24 hours, and so on and so on. Get the feeling of adventure. On your next day off, take a trip to the park, mountains or a nearby seaside resort. Never mind the weather. Get up and get out. Use your imagination. Think about getting a ticket to some place, packing your suitcase, slamming the door and escaping from the dullness of everyday routine. Even if the journey is short, think of the thrill of saying, "I'm going away next week." Want to travel to foreign countries? The stepping stone is making time. Plan and get going. Don't wait a moment longer. Once you get the feeling that you are going to make something happen, it will begin to happen. Traveling will become a part of you, and you will have a strong desire to see more and more of the world. Feeling is the key to expectancy. Get the feeling that this is it, that you are going to break out or your normal routine. Expectancy will set in motion a mighty power within you that will cause your desire to happen. The more excited you become, the faster you will get your wish. By maintaining this state of expectancy, you will draw to you the ways and means for bigger and better adventures. Don't let time manage you, manage it. Frustration and discouragement are always self-created. With a little thought, we find that time, without its whip, is a great encourager. Our job is learning to love time, to value it for the value it brings. As has been observed so wisely, we are taught to save time and waste our lives. Time has meaning only when it holds experiences that expand life's meaning for us. It seems to drag or fly by according to what it holds. Once we grasp this, we begin to master the role it plays in our lives. creating time the way we want it and when we want it. Let me give you an example of making time. My first love, teaching. There have been times when I have presented over 150 classes and seminars during the course of a year. These classes and seminars took up a lot of my time, but I loved every moment of them. I have never been trained as a writer, so I find writing very demanding on my abilities. Yet, I have trained myself to write by setting aside the time to write. Because I would rather be teaching, I must make time to write. And this book was important enough for me to make that time. For 3 months I shut myself off from the rest of the world to complete this goal. The rest of the world and my friends thought I was dead or had disappeared. I only worked on the manuscript. After all, what are 3 months out of my life when the results may benefit many people? Although I was dead to everyone else, I was very much alive in what I was doing. My excitement and enthusiasm were self-created and enabled me to complete the book. In essence, writing the book demanded discipline, making time and creating the excitement and enthusiasm, which carried me through. So many people are bored. They say there is nothing to do. How sad this is. They drink, watch TV, play video games, cards or bingo, and do almost anything for the sake of killing time. But while they are killing time, they are also killing their creative imaginations. They have no time for study, meditation or self-improvement. Life is to act. Not to act is death. The clock is ticking away. Life is an emergency. The time is now. Visualize yourself as a person who always does things now. Everything you envision is done right away, or, at very least, you make plans to do it right away. If you really want to be emotionally strong, healthy, successful and alive, find time to study and meditate on the principles we have been talking about. It takes time to be successful. Lots of time. There is no magic formula. It takes time, study, meditation and action. Make use of the time God has given you. Most people do not realize the value of time until they come to the end of it. Then they beg for a few minutes more. Those who died in the last 24 hours would have given anything for another 24 hours. You can spend the next 24 hours reaching your true potential or sliding down into your own particular hell. The choice is always yours. Time becomes a tool, not a tyrant. You must learn to regard the clock as an artist regards his materials. Not as a whip, but as a paintbrush to add beauty to the picture you are creating. You must be aware of the freedom of choice you are exercising and learn the value of time without fearing it. In other words, you must do whatever you do because you are using time for your purpose or objective, and in no case permit it to be an end in itself. There is no virtue in budgeting time unless you get more out of it that way. Using time effectively depends largely upon learning to set priorities. One of the simplest but finest methods of doing this is to get into the habit of writing down each night before retiring the 6 most important things you want to do the next day. After you list these, put them in their order of priority. As you get those things done you set out to do, you will be filled with a great sense of accomplishment. Each project you complete will make the next seem easier, and success will follow. Success. Allotting your hours to their best use is a splendid mental exercise, because, in so doing, you must decide on the relative importance of the items to be included in your daily activities. This type of preliminary evaluation, which helps separate essentials from non-essentials, guarantees rewards way out of proportion to the initial time involved. The ancient Chinese proverb says, "A journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step." You must not only start moving but you must keep moving forward. Managing your time efficiently does not mean you have to rush. Some people are always in a hurry but never seem to get any more done than those who pace themselves. Do you remember when you last wanted to save time? What did you do with the time you saved? Did you put it away to use someday when you needed it? The point is that time can be managed but not saved. Trying to save time only results in anxiety and frustration. Remember our earlier precaution: don't save time and waste your life. Making use of time begins with realizing how you are presently using it. Look over daily activities and see where you can make changes. Do the most unpleasant assignments and activities first. This way, you will work harder and get more done because you will always have a pleasant task ahead. Take time to make time. Don't forget to make time in your schedule for planning. There never was a better time for you. Because we exist in a universe of magnificent rhythm and timing, the body and mind respond easily to the rhythm of repetition and action. In your assumed mastery of time, never regard regularity as mundane, dull, uninteresting, or as a matter of duty. Instead, think of it as the same type of rhythm that makes music enjoyable. The challenge and invitation are to swing along with it and catch the tempo of the melody of life. One of the principal objectives of this book is to help you build more self-confidence so you can enjoy the time of your life.